We welcome in 1320 Kings insider and creator of the Kings Beat, James Ham. James, unfortunately, the first person to appear on today's show wearing sleeves for those.
man.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. I missed the memo. Like, what's up?
Yeah,
here?
no, there were definitely
There you go.
there was some talk in the chat house about James appearing on the show.
Just
no sleeves.
Just make sure those sleeves don't go to your neck. All right.
You got to roll them up to your freaking neck, buddy.
That's
you got
right.
any thoughts? You got any thoughts on Game 4 before we dive into the Kings? Like we've been talking all week about. I'm kind of a little bit more adamant than Kenny is. I think the Celtics are just better than the Warriors, and I'm starting to feel like they might be a lot better than the Warriors. With Steph Curry as the Warriors' saving grace right now.
Yeah, I'm not ready to give up on the Warriors yet. I mean,
I'm not either because of Steph Curry. I'll give up on everybody else, but I ain't giving up on Steph Curry.
Yeah, I got you. I feel you, but at this point, I mean, the Celtics are tough. They've shown like an intestinal fortitude that I don't think that we thought was there, right? This is a team that's taking leaps and bounds. They're battle tested because of their path through the Eastern Conference, and they look ready. And I don't think the Warriors were fully ready for that. And again, I think it all comes down to the one thing that we keep talking about. If you can take like a right cross in the third quarter and you can stagger but not fall, and you come out firing in the fourth, then you can hang with this team, with this Golden State Warriors team, and you can beat them. And we've seen it now. Every game the Warriors come out and beat you up in the third, and if you can do a little rope-a-dope and hang in there, you can beat them in the fourth quarter without any question.
It kind of feels like the Warriors after game one, they're like, we let that one get away. After game two, they turned up a little bit in the third quarter and spread out. And they're like, yeah, that's more like that's what we'll be able to do. And I know it's just a feeling. I'm sure the players have the ultimate respect, but it feels like they always thought they had this in hand and it was just going to be easy work, as opposed to looking at what was really going on and saying, oh, this Boston team, they're right here. They're ready to play with us every step of the way. And I don't know. I wonder. I think they got their attention now. They know what time it is now. They know, hey, we've got to put together a full 4 quarters. We can't just hang tight and get in that third quarter and expect to run away with it. Because for the most part, the Celtics team, they can take a punch. They don't have a glass jaw. So they'll take that and they'll still be in there. And in the fourth quarter, they've dominated the Golden State Warriors. So Boston is just like, let's just get to the fourth quarter. And if Boston, like you said, if they take that punch in the third quarter, I think they could knock the Warriors out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest game of the series, right? To date, there could be a much bigger game down the road, but if the Warriors don't figure out something now, coming back from 3-1 is tough. I mean, they've been here before though, and we've talked about like that's the trick with these guys. They know what they're doing. They've been here before. It might come down to whether or not they have the talent to keep up, but it could also come down to whether they mix it up a little bit. Maybe they give a guy like Kuminga a shot to come out and play a little bit and give him a little bit of energy. I'm not ready to write them off yet. I think it's going to be. I still think I'm picking the Warriors.
There's no reason to write the Warriors off at all.
No.
I just think the Celtics are better. Let's talk Kings basketball here, Hammer. There's a variety of things to talk about. How about this from the baby giraffe, our man Tim Maxwell? This got my attention here, James. Curious your thoughts. Kenny, same thing. Oklahoma City calls and offers number 2 for the number 4 in Davion Mitchell. Do you do it?
Oh yeah, I mean not to diminish Davion Mitchell, but yeah, I mean you drive him to the airport. I know that's tough, but there's no question there. You can move to number 2 in this draft. It clears up the best player available fit thing completely.
So here, okay, it does. So here's the tough question then. Who do you draft?
Well, it just depends on who's available.
Jabari went one. We'll say
Jabari went one.
Well, then you draft Chet.
Mm.
I don't think there's any question.
See, James, you you walking into a thunderstorm today, because me and the boys, man, we've been watching Paolo Banchero, and
He's good, James.
No, he's good.
He's good, bro.
So here's how I look at them. Number one, I think that Jabari at number one he's the most like 2022 NBA player you're gonna find. He fits so many different. He's basically Jaren Jackson Jr. with a little bit more of LaMarcus Aldridge mixed in, and he'll block shots at a higher rate than he did in college because he's not going to play next to Walker Kessler, who averaged like 47 blocks a game. Like you couldn't get a ball past that guy. So I think he's the perfect NBA 2022 prototype. I think Paolo Banchero is by far the most polished product that we're going to see coming into this draft. He's going to probably win the Rookie of the Year. He's going to be the guy that everyone's talking about early in his career. I think Jaden Ivey has the highest upside out of anyone and could blow up and be a superstar. And I don't think his floor is that low. And then I think Chet Holmgren is going to be the guy that impacts winning the most. He's going to be the best defensive player out of all of those guys. He's the best fit in Sacramento, and that's why for me it's a no-brainer. And I like Paolo Banchero, but he doesn't play defense like Chet. He doesn't block shots like Chet, and the skills that Chet has are translatable to the NBA, and I think he's going to be really good.
Interesting. So here's the deal with Paolo and Chet and even Jabari for me, right? Because when we talk, I mentioned this earlier, and I'll explain it to you, and I'll explain it for those who didn't hear. When we talk about basketball players and who the Kings should go get, I'm always going towards offense, right? And people are like, "You hate defense, you don't." It's not that. With me, when looking at the Kings, you have to have somebody that can bring you home, is what I'm telling you. You know what I mean? You have to have, like, Marcus Smart is amazing. He's phenomenal. It's not the same if you don't have Tatum, right? He can be as great as a defender as he wants to. If you don't have Tatum, then none of this works, right? And I keep talking about this type of guy for the Kings because Chet and whoever is a great defender and all this other stuff, they're great defenders. It doesn't matter if you don't have the guy that can bring you home. And I look at Paolo, if they were in that situation, Paolo's the guy I think that can bring you home offensively. And then you go find you a defensive guy wherever else you want him to, whether it's the 3 or the 2 or whatever the case may be. I think it's easier to find those guys than it is. I'll put it to you like this, and this is kind of off because Smart is special. It's easier to find Marcus Smart than it is Jason Tatum.
Oh, for sure. I don't disagree with that at all, but I think you're discounting the fact that De'Aaron Fox was like second in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring 2 seasons ago.
But everybody's telling me he's a 2, like a number 2, your second best player on the team. That's what everybody's telling me.
But the problem is that they couldn't get a stop. They just kept trading baskets with De'Aaron Fox going at guys, and if you would have got 3 more stops, you would have won 8 more games. Like that's the way it goes. Like in the NBA, you have to get stops in crunch time, and I think that they already have that guy on the roster. Now, do I think De'Aaron Fox is like a no-brainer number 1 option? No, I don't think that. I think that you could find somebody who's a higher, they can be a number 1 and move Fox down to number 2. But that's not always how basketball works. It's not how, winning basketball works. And it's difficult because Brennan asked me on the podcast on Thursday. It was a complicated question. Do you draft for fit or do you draft for need? Like, even if you move down and you have to, I just keep turning this draft over in my head, and fit, it does matter. And his question, I think, was, do you draft for fit with Fox? And at number 4, do you choose with the idea that you have Fox and Sabonis on your roster? And the quick answer is of course not. No. I'm going to draft Jaden Ivey if he's the fourth guy if he's still there, and the draft goes according to the way that everyone thinks it will, that your three big guys will be gone. But I'm still going to draft with Fox and Sabonis in mind, because you still know what you need to make this thing work. Like, you can't just completely throw it out the window. And if you move down from 4, I'm certainly drafting for fit, like fit over everything. And then again, like if we look at guys like Jabari and Chet, they're in the same tier for me. And you could, like I always said, that in my opinion, there's 3 tiers in the top 4 picks. There's Chet and Jabari, then there's Paolo by himself, and then there's Jaden Ivey by himself. As we get closer and closer to the draft, that's kind of compressing, where it almost is becoming one top tier, and it's become a 4-man draft at the top. And I don't think anyone is going to argue with that this is a 4-man draft. And that if you have an opportunity to draft one of the top 4 guys, then you should be drafting one of the top 4. There isn't anyone from 5 to 60 who has jumped leaps and bounds up so high that they should actually be considered at number 4. Now, that doesn't mean that the Kings are going to abide by that. They may have some different ranking system and go off script and do something that, but again, if they do that and it turns out bad, they're going to look like they did when they drafted Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic. Because it's very clear that this is a 4-man draft at the top, and you're the 4th pick. You should be drafting whoever falls to you at number 4. And again, I do like Paolo, and I do like Chet, and I do like
I don't
Jabari.
think you like Paolo. You heard
I do.
You heard our feelings today. Is in all seriousness, is the drop off from Chet to Paolo defensively that great?
Oh, it's tremendous. You're looking at a guy who blocked, I think he blocked 30-something shots in 38 games or whatever in Paolo. And of his blocks, half of them are unsustainable. Like at the NBA level, he's going to be a really, really good scorer. Like, don't get me wrong. He'll be a solid rebounder. He's not going to be a great rebounder. And he's going to be a really good passer. I think both of those guys translate to really good passers at the next level. But the problem that you have, what's that?
You said both of those guys, Paolo and Chet?
Yeah, Paolo and Chet. Yeah, they're both going to be exceptional passers. Both of them are going to be guys that you can actually run an offense through. With Chet, of course, not having nearly the scoring potential of Paolo. But again, I don't think anyone really has the scoring potential of Paolo in this draft. That doesn't mean that Jaden Ivey's not going to take some crazy leap, and that's why you draft him, because you think that there's that potential. But when I look at the defensive differences, Chet can guard multiple positions with no problem. He averaged 3.6 blocks per game in like 27 minutes. So it translated to almost 5 blocks a game. And Paolo just doesn't have that. Paolo needs to play with a conventional rim runner, right? He needs to play with Mark Williams. He needs to play with even Richaun Holmes, a guy who can have his back and cover his weaknesses. Chet's not going to have weaknesses on the defensive end, and he's probably the best defensive player in this draft. And he doesn't just block shots. He can stay with people on the perimeter. He can do just about everything that you need him to do.
All right. Well, I like Chet. So we both like Chet.
Fine. James ruined our day.
Look, this is what I say about not getting stops. And I know, the way the league is played now, they're switching and all this other stuff. But if you're talking about stops, Chet helps that. But to me, and this is just the way I view basketball and I coach basketball, your stops start on the perimeter. So you can get your Chet or Paolo, and if guys are blowing by or working those guys on the perimeter, they'll help, but that's not going to alleviate the problem. If it's stops that you need, it's a perimeter defender, in my opinion, is where you should be targeted.
Yeah, but I think perimeter defenders look different with elite shot blockers behind them.
Right, well, it's a chicken and the egg thing. Like if you get blown by and you have a guy to block the shot of the guy you get blown by, your defense doesn't look as bad, right?
Yeah, and I think at the NBA level too, there's so many pick and roll actions. There's so much switching and everything else. I think Chet defends the perimeter extremely well. He defends the pick and roll extremely well. His length is like incredible, 7'6" wingspan. Standing reach is well over 10 feet. Yeah, I just think that he's a guy that can make your defense better overall. If he's the guy who's with a guard in a pick and roll set out on the perimeter, you can't just shoot over the top of him. There's it's he mucks up everything on the perimeter. So yeah, I mean I really like him defensively, and I think like he has potential to be an All NBA defender without any question. Whether it's first team, second team, third team, it doesn't matter. Like the Kings don't have that guy on their roster. Davion's a really good perimeter defender, but again, this is a different type of defender that can change like almost everything for you, and he can shoot the three, and you have to guard him at the rim because I mean he's so incredibly tall.
Why has Dyson Daniels shot up so many draft boards over the course of the last 3 weeks or so?
It's a good question. I think first of all, the league is the biggest copycat league there ever was. So when Josh Giddey had such high success last year, and you can even keep going back to guys like Ben Simmons, but the NBA Academy in Australia, they're doing great things. Whatever they're doing, players are getting here and they're ready to play, and they're smart kids, and they know how to handle media, and they know what their job is, and they're grown-ups even at really young ages. And so I think that that's one thing that you're getting sort of a European basketball player, but different, a little bit different than your typical European basketball player. I mean, of course, Australia is not in Europe. I know that, people, but you understand what I'm saying? You're getting the basketball approach of a European player, but maybe a little stronger, a little more physical, a little bit better passer. Like they just have a knack for seeing the floor. And I think the things about him, number one, he grew a bunch. He grew like 3.5 inches in the last year and a half, I think it is. So that's big. Number two, he improved his 3-point shot, and that was a huge question mark. To me, it's still a little slow. It still has a little Kyle Anderson in it. Like you're watching, it takes a long time for him to get his release off. Now, he might be showing teams that he's sped that up, but at the NBA level, he's going to have a tough time creating space for himself to shoot a shot. He'll be fine in the catch and shoot, but even then, a good closeout is going to be tough for him. But he's just really creative. He's a good steal man. He's long, and he plays the passing lanes well. He's a guy, again, that can really improve your perimeter defense, whether he's playing the 2 or the 3. I worry that he's going to need the ball in his hands more than what, even like a Tyrese Halliburton. Like he might need the ball in his hands that much, which is something, again, with Giddey needs the ball in his hands. So it's good that they have Shea in OKC, but they need pure shooters all around those guys as well, just to space the floor for those two guys to work. I like him. I don't think he should be in the running at number 4, but I certainly have heard like anywhere from 6 to 9 with him that he could go in the draft, and possibly 6, 7, and he's going to be in Sacramento in the coming days. So we know that for sure.
Well, how's that been going with them bringing guys in? I've heard, the Kings haven't really brought people in, or they've been quiet about who they bring in. But does it kind of balance itself out because they've gone to, these pro days, and even in Chicago, I remember the whole thing. They were interviewing a bunch of guys and there for those workouts as well. Does that kind of get balanced out because they did those things? The fact that they're not necessarily bringing guys in?
I think so, a little bit. I mean, this is just different. Like this year is different. This will be my 13th year covering the team. They've never blocked us from seeing prospects like this. And I blame it partially on staffing issues, but at this point, that doesn't really matter. The fact that they're doing a workout today with like 6 second-round pick prospects, and we're not invited as media. To be honest with you, it's a bummer for the fans because they're not getting any access to that. We're not getting any access, but we also relay information to the fans. But I also think it's just a gigantic missed opportunity by the franchise. Like, people should be flipping out about this. They have the number 4 pick in the draft. Like, the excitement should be crazy. They've stymied all of the excitement. Like, I can't imagine that people are lining up to buy season tickets right now because they're not hearing anything. There is nothing. The only thing that we can do is we can do prospect breakdowns on our own. We can do film study on our own. There is some information that we're getting from the outside and all that, but there is nothing really to like get excited about because they're so quiet, and that's on them. And I think this last season we saw it where I don't think they brought in Davion Mitchell at all. And if they did, they brought him in on the quiet, and no one knew about it. And I'm almost positive he said they did not meet with him at all, and he was as shocked as everybody else when he got the call. So like, this is just the way that they're going to handle their business. And I mean, I think sometimes it's better than putting all of your information out there like they have at certain times. But I also think that you can bring media in and let them see like the 101 prospects we saw like 4 years ago, which was just crazy. We're there every day. You can balance out like what it is that people know about the prospects you're bringing in and who you're bringing in. So like, I'm not really sure that it's all that. I don't think they think it's that big of a deal, but at the end of the day, like, they're not doing themselves any favors. They're not doing us any favors for sure. And I'm certainly not going to do them any favors in the near future because that's kind of the way it's been.
Well, and real quick, Damien, a lot of people in the chat are talking about, isn't it good that we don't have leaks anymore? What James is saying, that's not a leak. Like,
It's
if you
not a
get
leak.
a guy working out, you want to kind of say, hey, we had Jabari Smith in here working out. Like, it's not a leak. It's supposed to be a story. It's supposed to be like, for lack of a better term, like PR. Like,
It's PR. That's what it is. Like, and
that is.
My guy Sean Cunningham is like, what in the world? Like, all of these local ties, like anyone with local ties, you want to do a local story for the 6 o'clock news or the 11 o'clock news, it's all gone. Like, there is no local buzz. And again, if I'm some of the agents and I'm looking at this like, wait, my guy's coming there and no one's going to be talking about him at all. No one's even going to know he got there. And we're talking about a 2nd round pick. I don't know that I'm going to keep shoveling my 2nd round picks to you guys. If I'm going to keep having them show up because there's no buzz, there's no interest in your town, you're just kind of stymieing, you're smothering your own like ability to make fans excited about what's happening. And it's not about leaks at all. That's like, people who think that I'm upset that I'm not getting leaks. That's not it at all, because what they're doing is they're forcing us to go around them, and that's not a good thing either.
I'm beginning to think this isn't the most smoothly run organization in the NBA. I don't know.
Well, they chose a path.
Oh.
I mean, this is their path at this point. But I mean, I think the biggest thing that I'll tell people that are listening is that this path is completely different than any other year, ever. So, like, if you're drafting in the top 4 or you're drafting in number 12, it doesn't matter. We've always had access to draft picks.
Sorry to cut you off. What's the path? Just going radio silent? That's the path?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they've done at this point. Yeah, I mean, it's radio silent. So, I mean, and that's their decision. But I don't get it, because there can be some excitement about what's happening here, especially when, again, you have local ties or you have a big name guy coming through. All of these things actually have some value. And we hear murmurs like, who may have or may not have come through already, but I'm not going to sit here and pontificate on who could have come through. I do know Dyson Daniels is coming through. I know that because he talked about it in his interview in Indiana, but also I was able to confirm that through someone else outside of the organization. A league source confirmed that he will be in Sacramento. So.
And a league source has confirmed the Charlotte Hornets have chosen their next head coach. Kenny Atkinson.
Congratulations to Kenny.
Another Golden State Warriors assistant taking a head job here, according to Shams. Atkinson met with Charlotte Hornets officials, including owner Michael Jordan, on Wednesday, and the franchise has decided on the former Nets coach as its new head coach. Atkinson brings development and defensive structure to a young and talented roster. So that's it, right? It was Sacramento, it was Los Angeles, and it was Charlotte. There's no
Well,
other.
now it's Utah.
Now there's Utah.
Utah is open, and Utah has requested to interview everyone except for me, James, and Kenny.
Oh no, I got the invite.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't-
Kenny, did you get yours?
I haven't. Let me see. Oh, hold on here. It was in my spam.
I think it's
folder.
because I wore sleeves and they said,
Oh,
"Oh, we're
that's
not going to have
what it was.
sleeveless guys in for interviews."
You know what though? It was in my spam folder. I got it. It's Tuesday.
I guess it's just me. I didn't.
It's in
I
your
didn't.
junk mail. It's in your junk mail.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to. I'll have to. Maybe they send it to the work email, but yeah, every 5 minutes, the Utah Jazz have requested permission. Like, man, they're doing a comprehensive
Process driven.
search.
Comprehensive, process driven.
Goodness gracious, man! I think they're
Yeah.
interviewing every assistant in the league.
Yeah,
and
that's a lot
secondary.
of people flying into that sketchy airport. That's a lot of people flying in there.
Man. Goodness gracious!
Yeah.
All right, well, good for Kenny Atkinson.
That's a good little fit. I'm anxious to see that too. He's got LaMelo. He's got some, a ton of offensive weapons there. I'm assuming they bring back Miles Bridges, although somebody needs to talk to Miles Bridges. But that's neither it's neither here nor there. He needs to calm down a little bit. But they got some good offensive weapons over there. That's a good spot for Kenny Atkinson.
I think so too. He is a guy who's really good at developing players. And so, you're seeing the development in Golden State with some of these guys, your Jordan Pooles and stuff like that. He's always, everywhere he's been known as the development guy. And hopefully that works out because that's a very exciting young team. And they need something to put them over the top. I don't know that there's a huge difference between him and Borrego. And I think the Borrego firing was pretty ridiculous and rash. But at the same time, I think that's probably one of the better fits that I've seen. And it's not, I would have liked to have seen Kenny come through Sacramento, but that just wasn't in the cards.
Mike Brown didn't take anyone from Golden State, did he?
No, but we don't have his whole coaching staff yet.
Okay.
No, I mean, we only have rumor and
Yeah.
innuendo.
Oh.
So, I mean, I think I know 4 of them, right? Yeah, I think I know 4.
Triano, Luke. I can't.
Jordy Fernandez.
Oh,
and-
Jordy Fernandez
Yeah, and Doug.
and Doug. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Um,
and they still haven't announced those.
That's so weird. Oh, well, that's fine. I was about to say that's so weird, but that makes sense. Mike's coaching in the NBA Finals. I'm okay with that. I get it. His attention on the NBA Finals. I understand that.
Well,
I don't have a
they
problem.
could be announced. They don't have to have the press conference.
Yeah, I mean, they tweeted out a picture of one of them.
Did they?
Yeah, they tweeted out a picture of Jordy Fernandez announcing him
That was
as.
his announcement.
Come on.
What's that? That was their announcement.
Maybe
Yeah.
that was it. Maybe they just pictures now. Picture. Why use more words when less words work?
What are we doing over there?
James gets that reference. Come on, man. James, I know you get that reference.
Say it again.
When Kevin stopped using normal sentences,
Oh yeah,
why use more words when few words do trick?
yeah.
And you'll get there in about 10 years.
Trick.
About 10 years. You'll be fine.
I don't know what we're doing over there, by the way. What are we? I don't know what we're doing over there.
Where?
Downtown Sacramento.
What happened?
I don't know what we're doing. Why can't we talk about people that are coming in to work out? Why are we sending out pictures for one assistant and not the others? I don't know what we're doing
I
in
don't know.
downtown Sacramento.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Yeah,
Maybe we'll just get a flood of information when the NBA Finals are over. Who knows? Maybe they won't even announce the draft pick. Maybe they'll just ask Max over to keep it a secret. Hey,
I mean,
we're gonna hand you the card, buddy. Please don't read it.
I haven't heard if they're even doing a draft party. Typically, if you have the 4th pick in the draft, you're going to do a draft party. But yeah,
They've taken the whole.
Years they realize there's no reason to party.
Well, look, I think they've taken the whole adage of nothing matters but winning a little too far. They're like, we're not going to announce anything. There'll be no party. Nothing matters but winning.
That's it. We'll come back. Can Keegan Murray crack top 4 in 2022 NBA draft? That's the latest piece from our very own James Ham. We'll talk about that when we return here and close out this Friday on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
The sneaky little one keeps getting out and coming downstairs today. I don't know what the deal is there.
I hear it.
I got people here, so what is happening? I closed the door myself. She can't open a door. She's a corgi. Her legs are this long. Did
went out today?
Oh, did it? Oh yeah. Look at that. Okay.
Oh, damn.
Draft party.
Oh, that's. I'm intrigued by this now.
Big day.
I don't think I got an email. I guess I'm not invited.
Well, I'm sure this is probably season ticket holders.
I got to work.
Oh, that's right. We should do the show from the draft party.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I got the email on the draft party either. So.
Cold world, James.
Damn.
Cold.
Yeah.
No one at ESPN 1320 got it by. Can't imagine who kept us out of that. Heck, don't want us around.
Yeah. Intriguing. Yeah. I'm
not on their website. Oh, here it is. Yep. Join us at Doco.
It just popped up.
Yep, it's on their website. Join us at Doco. Party starts at 3:30. Draft starts at 5.
Are they trying to say they're going to be like outside? They're going to do it.
It looks like it's outside. Yeah.
Oh, they're doing it outside in like 110-degree heat.
That's
by
what
that point.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll.
I mean, it could be raining by that point. I mean, the way the weather is gone.
It says capacity is limited and entrance will be granted on a giveaways. Join fellow Kings fans. I don't know. Maybe it's inside. It says Doco though. It doesn't say Golden One Center.
No, that sounds like it's just outside.
Join us for a free draft watch party at Doco.
These are things that, I think about. Where are they going to do like the whole watch party stuff down, like when the Kings make the playoffs? They're going to do it. Where's the screen going to be? Is it going to be up against the parking garage and they're going to cut off L Street and have people in the street in front of the parking garage? It can't be that little screen that are on the outside of the entrance, because those things are too narrow.
No, they're going to put up something big out there. I don't know. Like you usually bring in a gigantic stage.
They need to just put it on those screens they have on the parking garage across the street. Those things are massive.
Yeah, but that's like right next to the street. I guess you could do it down there, or you could have part of it there.
Close off L Street and let people be right there.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that because on that side is their VIP entrance and their employee entrances are right there. So I'm going to guess that would be difficult to pull off.
I didn't even think about when they were home. I was thinking about
that'd be for the away game though.
Yeah, they probably still try to have them outside for the home game too.
Yeah, I think that they'll be able to do it out there in Doco. Like I was at Jurassic Park in outside of the Raptors stadium, like during the finals. And that was just crazy. So many people. I mean, there were people waiting for 3 days. There are a father and son that waited 3 days in line to get in just to Jurassic Park, not to not into the building. They didn't have tickets. In the last second, the Raptors had heard about them. And there was another, I think it was a couple that showed up like day 2, and the Raptors heard about them and brought out 4 tickets and brought them into the arena for the game, which was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, they're nice people. It'd be a fun adventure. It used to be like when we were young, if a big concert was coming out, you'd have to wait out overnight in front of like a Ticketmaster. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like that, but for like 3 days. I don't know. And it's chilly.
I don't know what was worse, waiting in line at 3 a.m. or dealing with bots. I don't know what was more of a challenge.
Yeah.
Probably bots.
That's true. Oh, the good old days.
Yeah, something like that. Sacramento. Hey,
Go. We out here changing stuff, baby. We out here
I
changing
think
stuff.
they're trolling us right now. The Sacramento Kings have agreed to a deal to hire Jay Triano as an assistant head coach on Mike Brown's new staff.
No, bro. They listen, bro. They listen.
Trolling us heavy. That's comedy.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Come on, man.
This all happened in the commercial break. The draft party and the Woj tweet. These dudes are trolling us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
This is not a coincidence, bro. It can't be.
That is fantastic. That made my day.
Yeah.
Hey, nice scoop, Woj.
Actually, it's not even his scoop. I mean, why don't you credit Mark Stein for doing the work?
We're coming back. Sacramento Kings are definitely trolling D'Lo and KC here at this point.
Hey, listen.
During the commercial break that the draft party was announced today. Draft party, June 23rd at Doco. Free for everyone. Go party. We won't be there. We'll be doing an 8-hour show that day.
We working, man.
So, Adrian Wojnarowski with the scoop of the century. The Sacramento Kings have agreed to a deal to hire Jay Triano, assistant coach on Mike Brown's new staff. For those who are just tuning in, that tweet from Adrian Wojnarowski comes about 4.5 minutes after James Ham says they haven't even announced these coaches yet. It's just stuff we found out. Well, the first announcement has been made. The Sacramento Kings have agreed to a deal to hire Jay Triano as an assistant coach on Mike Brown's new staff.
No, like I said, I'm glad we could affect change out here.
We are.
So
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change. We did it. We did it. James, are you agitated?
It's just par for the course, man. At this point, yeah. Heaven forbid you send out a.
You could be pissed, man. We're family.
It's all right. I don't really care. It's not like we didn't already know it. I'm not pissed about that. I think it's disrespectful to the reporter who actually broke that story 2 or 3 weeks ago to act like this is news. Like that's all. And Mark Stein broke that story a couple of weeks ago. Just like Mark Stein kept telling everyone that what's his name, Utah Jazz head coach Quinn Snyder was going to step down. Mm-hmm. No one else ran with it. They all just sat there quietly, and then all of a sudden, breaking news: Quinn Snyder steps down. It's like Mark Stein's been telling us that for like weeks. Like he literally wrote that like 3 days ago that everything's leading to Quinn Snyder stepping down. So yeah.
What's the reporter etiquette behind that? Like, what's the reasoning for that? Is it the person telling them? Is it the platform? Like, obviously, Mark Stein. I think Mark Stein, he rocks like what you rock, right? Like, he has his own newsletter and his own.
Yeah, he does Substack.
And you got to subscribe to him. He's not with the New York Times anymore or anything along those lines. Versus The Athletic in Shams or ESPN in Woj.
Well, etiquette is still etiquette. Like I know today, the news about Dyson Daniels coming to Sacramento. Before he put the video out, the reporter for the ND Star tweeted out that Dyson Daniels was going to stop. So I made a couple of calls, and sure enough, I was able to confirm it. I went back, I credited him, and then he fired back and said, "Oh, you didn't need to credit me. I just asked a question at a draft workout." And I'm like, no, that's still yours. You still broke that news. Like we didn't have that news until you put it out there. So it's your news. I think that there is etiquette, and that's why like I've always followed the best you can. That, if you're right there, like right now, I can confirm that Jay Triano is an assistant coach for the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, there you go. Like literally it just popped up in the corner of my screen that yes, I can confirm that Jay Triano is an assistant coach for the Sacramento Kings. Hat tip to Mark Stein for putting out that news 3 weeks ago.
James is not here for your nonsense. If you thought James was here for your nonsense, he's very much not.
Well,
if you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn on that.
It's like the epic game of cat and mouse. Like it's just silly. All of it's silly. I mean, yes, I can tell you that Doug Christie is on the coaching staff, but I can't confirm it through the natural sources. But yes, he's on the coaching staff.
Oh,
Again, hat tip Mark Stein.
So let me ask you this though, James. The way these things go, is this exclusive to the Sacramento Kings, or are there other franchises that kind of handle the PR, handle the news the way they do? As far as like we just talked about before all this happened, like they've gone stone silent. We can't get anything. You can't get anything. They're not putting anything out there publicly for people to have the information. Is this are the Kings one of 15 teams that kind of go about things this way now, or are they the only ones?
Oh no, they're not the only ones. No, not at all. I mean, we heard rumor that the draft process was going to change going forward. We heard that last year, and that's because the teams totally got screwed over by the draft process. The NBA gave us all Zoom links, and we got to interview the prospects ourselves, which became like literally the most ridiculous thing of all time. All of the reporters would raise their hand on Zoom, and one by one they would go, "So, have you worked out for the Knicks? And if you have, how would you think that you would fit next to RJ Barrett?" And like
Jeez.
and then the next guy would ask a question. Then like 4 guys in, someone would go, "Hey, do you mind just telling us who you've worked out for?" And then the player would go, start listing off names, and the rest of us be like, "Are you serious?" As reporters, we can be dumb at times, like everyone doing the same exact thing. Yeah, it's when they feed it to a national writer, the reason why they feed it to a national writer is because they believe it has some sort of bigger meaning if they give it to somebody with a tremendous following that is going to get out there and go wildfire because that person said it. But it's a lack of comprehension on what actually happens. Like there's this huge misunderstanding about what a Woj tweet means versus what a local reporter like myself means. Because Woj drops it and never looks back. Someone else might write his piece for him and then like put out like a short thing about, and it might have some sort of
More on the Sacramento Kings hiring Jay Triano.
Yeah, exactly. But then when it comes down to it, it really does. It becomes guys like me who like tell the story, who craft the narrative about what's happening, and it's the choice that they make, and it's fine. Like if you're a local reporter, you have to understand that Woj or Shams is going to get almost everything. Now, do I break stories? Sure, I break stories all the time. I was the one who broke the story that Luke Walton would be staying. But again, there's value to why that happened at that time and why it doesn't happen at another time. But it also it burns your local media. And then again, who do you think controls who is the one reporting on your team all the time? And if you don't respect that,
agents play a big part in that too.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Represented by some like these insiders now. They make big money. They're like Woj was rep by CAA. Like I know, and a lot has to do with relationships. I think I told you about one incident I was aware of. Woj knew the story, but they asked him, "Don't break it yet. Don't break it until this time." Like I knew exactly what time Woj was going to tweet something one time. I knew like down to the minute, and sure enough, the push notification comes and there's the Woj tweet. It happened exactly when I was told it was going to happen, but that's how it was worked out between the person involved and the agents. And that's like Woj. I'm sure Shams to a certain degree, and Schefter. These dudes they're powerful in this game now.
Yep.
And you want them, if you're Monty or whoever, or Wes Wilcox or whoever, you want those guys on your side, and you want CAA on your side. And those, I mean, it sucks for you. It really sucks for us because I think that was such a great point you made. Woj is done with it. Woj ain't thinking about it. Like, he ain't writing a follow-up piece on this, but there are probably a lot of people who maybe heard this news come around the first time, or they just heard us talk about it here, or they'll see your confirmation tweet or whatever, and they're like, yo, tell me more about Jay Triano. Well, that's coming from you.
That's what they're
coming from you guys.
Yeah, they don't get that the next step is that your local guys pick up and do the analysis. And that analysis goes one way or another. Like, I mean, it's straightforward and balanced and fair, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's still our voice and our analysis that carries a lot further than the voice that they have out there. So it's great that everybody in Chicago got the memo that Jay Triano is an assistant coach of the Kings, but they don't care. Mm-hmm. It's people in Sacramento that actually care about that, and it's all right. Like you can't take it personal because this is the game. It's sort of the game we signed up for, and it's been that way for a long time. But there's also, you know, like I could have tweeted out right afterwards. I can confirm that Jay Triano has been, but by the time I'm off the radio, the Kings will have already like put out a tweet, I'm sure, with his picture saying "Welcome, Coach Triano."
Shout out to Sean Cunningham. I don't know if you saw his tweet. Sean Cunningham tweeted confirming the hire of Jay Triano to Mike Brown's Sacramento Kings coaching staff, as first reported weeks ago by the Steinline, Mark Stein.
See? Bravo, my friend. Bravo, my friend Sean Cunningham.
That's good.
So,
like, and again, I don't have any problems with Woj. Like, Woj plays a different game. It's a totally different game, and he gets paid millions of dollars to do it. So that's his business, and he's really good at it. And like, he's carved out this incredible niche for himself. But if you ever want to read up on some of that stuff, you can go to Ethan Strauss and his Substack, where he actually talks about the PowerPoint presentation that NBA general managers and staffs get about the power of Woj that he sends out to people and why you should give him the information. It's a really insightful look into the inner workings of media. And so again, it is what it is. You just kind of, we play the game, and I do my job the best I can. I show up every day, and I tell people when people are missing from practice and when they're hurt, and I have plenty of sources and plenty of things that I can put out there. But at the end of the day, when it comes to crazy news like Mike Brown getting hired as a head coach of the Sacramento Kings, it typically comes from one of the big guys.
That sounds fascinating. What you just said, there's this whole presentation of why you should give the news to Woj. That, like, seriously, I'm like, because I'd like to know. I'm lost as to why you would do that. Like, I get the gist of it, but the whole presentation about why it's important that you do that, I'd love to see that. That's crazy.
Well, he shows where his voice is more powerful than Shams. I mean, that's why he does it.
And it's so funny we use the term voice, because we're talking about a tweet, right? That's how this type of news is broken. I don't need to rush to SportsCenter to hear what Woj says about virtually anything. I need to see what he tweets. I have his push notifications on my phone because I need to know. That's how news is broken now. It's funny that we use the term voice when we're really just talking about social media.
Well, even more so than that, his voice isn't more powerful than what actually happened. Like, if LeBron James signed with the Lakers, whether it came from Kenny in Sacramento or Woj, it doesn't really matter. Like, him signing with the Lakers is all that matters.
Yeah.
I don't look at that news any differently because it came from what, like, that's what I'm not understanding. Like, the messenger in facts, Now, if you've got like stories or I'm hearing that such and such, yeah, maybe that there's more validity to him. When you talk about something like this, the Kings hired an assistant coach. That's just a fact. They did that. I don't care if it came from Woj or Reese. It don't matter.
Yeah, I mean it's just about cachet. That's what it is. It's about, him being the big dog and getting his name out there. Some of these things that happen, um, it's not even big enough. He won't take it. Like eh. And certainly, I don't know how much he's going to write on Jay Triano. I'm going to guess he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it doesn't even really have any value to ESPN and their website.
He obviously has a relationship with someone here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no question. I'm not going to get into that.
It's clear there's someone here who has a pretty good relationship with it.
Yeah. And there's also someone here that had there were people here that had relationships with Shams, and there's someone here who has a relationship with Sam Amick, and there are people here that have relationships with me. But you're right. As far as national guys, there are certainly people that he has relationships with. And then again, there's agents that have relationships with certain media members and not other media members. I have relationships with specific agents and not others. It's kind of the game.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
don't
guys,
get news off of internet rumors.
Wait, say that again?
You don't get your scoops off of internet rumors.
No.
Oh.
Regardless of what some of these yahoos think out there, that I block on Twitter.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, I won't run with something until I've got it confirmed.
well,
And that's just the way I am.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'm gonna break down. I'm gonna give you guys the game once #King blows up and I start, going through all this stuff. I'll give you guys the game. I'll let you know how it really goes down.
Once you make it, you're gonna
#King. Just give me about 6 months. #King about to go crazy. It's about to go crazy.
#King, arguably the funniest typo in the history of the show. Your latest profile prospect is on Keegan Murray. We spent a lot of time talking about Keegan Murray this week. I saw some interesting things with Kevin Pelton projecting him out potentially to be the third best player in this draft in a couple of years. Were you able to find a way, in judging by the look on your face, you were not able to find a way to get Keegan Murray to the 4th spot for the Sacramento Kings. So what did your research turn up on this kid?
Yeah, I mean, really, I like him. I like him a lot. I like watching him play. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's incredible in the post. But first of all, the NBA doesn't have any post game anymore anyways. So he's not going to get the type of looks he got at Iowa. The sheer volume of looks that he got. He's not walking into the NBA as a usage player at 29.7 usage, which again, I talked about the other day, which is higher than De'Aaron Fox's usage this last year. He averaged 1.5 assists despite that usage rate. I don't think I know of another player with that kind of usage that doesn't pass the ball at all. I mean, 1.5 assists, his assist percentage was 10%. So I haven't looked it up, but I'm going to guess if he was on the Sacramento Kings last year, he'd probably be like 11th or 12th in assist percentage. So how do you have a usage of more than the point guard and an assist percentage less? And if you are that person, you should probably be averaging like 40 points a game. So, I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes. And again, it's not that I dislike him. It's that I don't know how it translates. There's not a lot of post-up moves in the NBA. He's really good in transition, and I think he's got an opportunity to be good there. He can shoot the 3 ball, like I said. He does not have a real mid-range game, and he also doesn't have a off-the-dribble game. He doesn't create for himself or for others. He's a really, really solid, NBA starter. Could he be a plus starter? Yes. Can he be an all-star? I have a tough time seeing it. I equate him to the high end is Tobias Harris or Harrison Barnes. But he's a very high character guy. He does check a ton of boxes, and he would fit really well in Sacramento. The problem that you have is at number 4, you have to draft for upside, and I just don't see the ceiling nearly as high. All right. I can also confirm that Doug Christie and Luke Lauk are part of Mike Brown's coaching staff.
There we go.
Hey, there we go. Let's let James tweet that and get.
There you
I
go.
need someone to convince me the Kings aren't listening to this show. I need someone to convince me someone wasn't listening to James Ham going, wait, we haven't confirmed this yet? Oh, all right. Give one to Woj, give everything else to Ham.
It's clear as day, man. 3:00 in Sacramento. Everybody tapped into D-Lo and KC.
What time it is?
That's where everybody at. D-Lo and KC.
Hey, note to the Sacramento Kings, when y'all ready, we ready. Come on. We take care of you. It's all right, baby. Come on. That's how we roll. That's how we go. James, I'm just, you know what? I'm going to leave James alone. Let him get this news out there about Doug Christie and Luke Lautz. And
wait. We didn't do that right. There we go.
There we go.
Now we can confirm Doug Christie and Luke Lautz will be on the Kings staff. Little breaking glass.
Goodness gracious.
There you go. I hope I spelt his name wrong. I mean, right. I think I did not spell his name right. Now I feel bad.
No, that's
Laux.
right.
No,
that's
it's
right.
Laux.
Is it plural? Is there more of them?
That's
all right. Quick, James, before it gets traction, redo it.
Yeah. Once the likes get to popping, you got to leave it out there.
Oh yeah, you're way off. Yeah. It's OUCKS. We're just working through some tweets here,
man.
If you're,
like I said, you got to get it quick because once them likes get to popping, you gonna have to leave it. You know what I'm saying? Get it quick.
Let me just...
Quick little delete there. Quick little 3 dots.
If you're only listening,
James
is really trying to tell you he's not pissed. James is furious. James has an F the world look on. There we go. James
there you go.
Doug Christie and Luke Lautz are.
Sorry, Luke Laux, if that's how we pronounce your name. We haven't got the phonetic spelling from the Sacramento Kings yet.
No,
make sure that we...
I did get it from Jill, though, which is as good as getting it from the Sacramento Kings.
There you go.
Touch her on that.
So the coaching staff is rounding in the form.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Well, hey, just because we're on here, just shout out to my guy, Doug Christie, who is absolutely spectacular, and he's my guy, and I'm so happy that he's back because, you know, these things are scary, and it's Doug and I had conversations for a long time about specific things like this, that you can take a job, and then a head coach can get fired, and then next thing you know, you're like scrambling trying to find a new job, and you gave up TV and you gave up radio, but it looks like the Kings are going to stand by Doug. Now, what does this mean for Bobby Jackson? What does this mean for Lindsey Harding or Stacey Augmon or name that Kings assistant? Probably Rico Hines.
Yeah.
You'll break that news later.
Yeah.
Hit the thumbs up before you go. Subscribe to thekingsbeat.com. Shout out to the members of the Sacramento Kings listening to this program right now. We appreciate you.
Please.
We